everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're continuing our run to Follow the Mutants. We're looking at X Factor 22 by Louise and Walter Simonson, featuring the return of Boom Boom. Great cover. We've got Boom Boom and not Rusty, Richter here, and we've got the right. So Simonson, of course, pencils and inks the cover himself. Walter Simonson, one of my favorites. Love Walter Simonson. We pick up exactly where we did with the previous issue, where the kids open up the Morlock tunnels, and there is Richter, who is losing control of his powers, and the right comes through. Stanley presents If I Should Die. Louise Simonson, Sal Buscema is the guest penciler. So, the last issue, I had said that Walt Simonson doesn't take any more time off for a few issues, but that's not true. He obviously takes time off in this issue. Sal Buscema, or Buscema, but it's not Buscema. Again, there's one E, so I'll say Buscema. Just like I said, Magneto, not Magneto. Is the artist during during Walt Simonson's Thor run, after Walt Simonson left the title to come in here. So, it's kind of funny that Simonson has taken quite a few issues off since he took over. He's taken, I think this is now this is his third. It hasn't even been a year. So, and he's already taken his third. Excuse me. I had a yawn. So, and Sal Buscema is basically doing two books a month here. So, all right. And so, oops, sorry, I didn't finish with the editorial here. Louise Simonson, Sal Buscema, Bob Wiacek, same inker, same writer, same editor, same letterer, everything. And then Tom DeFalco has taken over for Jim Shooter. Rest in peace, Jim Shooter here. All right. And so they recognize Richter here and realize that he's shaking the building here. You see Rusty use his power here. And so creating a fire here. They shoot at him. We see Skids here. She's got a force field. They try shooting at her, but it doesn't work. Boom, sorry. Skids is going to extend her force field to help him. Richter is just losing his powers, and they're like, you're going to make the building fall. He says, I want to bury them or us. Don't you know yet who they are? Of course, this was like, send reinforcements. And so we assume that this poor guy is no longer with us here. So here comes more of them. And so Leech is trying to stop him because he's going to destroy everything. And Richter's like, nope, I'm not going to let him take me out. So he pushes him but hits Skids, which of course allows her, or makes her lose her powers. So of course they shoot everybody here and eventually shoot Richter. But don't worry, everybody's still alive here. So the kids are out. And so they let us know that they use tranquilizers, and they're like, we should have used real bullets, but it is what the commander wanted, which of course is Cameron Hodge here. So here they put this on. Well, I thought it was Artie, but it must be on Richter here. And so this is supposed to. Well, it says Fire Fist, so that would be Rusty. And so this is like a neutralizer so that their powers don't work. And then here comes Caliban, who doesn't have real powers. His powers to identify other mutants, and he's ugly. That's about it here. So he's like, no. And so we've already had a trope with him where he wants to get more powers. That's going to be important in future issues here. And so he goes to try to defend the kids, and this guy's ugly mutie, ain't ya? And so he misses, and you can see it here, whack, and hits him hard against the wall. And they're like, huh, looks like one of their newest members. Not able to pass the humans like the others. Must have left them behind when they went uptown. Uh, and so they're like, he's ugly and useless. And so Caliban's hurt here. And they're like, should we take him with the others? And they're like, he's not on our shopping list. It's obvious why. Forget him. So they said only those other ones. And so they're like, hey, I got a better idea. And I always follow orders. And so he shoots him. And it's the tranquilizer. He's like, became a tragic of a drug overdose. So they're going to leave him for dead. So as they walk, looking to make sure that there's nobody else in the complex, the TV is kind of giving us a recap of everything that's been leading up to this. And of course, that Cameron Hodge is now in charge of X Factor because of the will that Angel left him. So it's this is just used to catch up readers. And so here are in the Morlock tunnels, X Factor's trying to return back to their headquarters, but they're finding out that the way is blocked. So Cyclops uses his optic blast to remove it here. And so he says, Scott's optic blast may have set something nasty ticking. How about I freeze that mess solid just in case here? And so Jean Grey is going to use her telekinetic power, and B says, hey, you missed one. So then Hank grabs it here, and of course he is recovering from pestilence and says, hey, you've been ill, you shouldn't overdo it. And he of course ignores that. So Beast asks, what did the right want? Iceman says maybe they wanted to force us to use our powers to reveal ourselves, which is funny because they were about to. And Jean Grey says we were getting ready to announce that anyway, to spoil Hodge's takeover scheme. And Cyclops says, Hodge, he planned the anti-mutant campaign, arranged the amputation of Warren's wings, forced him to suicide, got control of his fortune. Could he be behind this attack as well? And so outside the complex, we have Boom Boom, who's trying to get back in. She was with the Fallen Angels in that is a limited series. I did not cover that. And she's like thinking they're trying to keep him out. And so when she decides to use one of her little bombs that she creates to open the doors. And so after she opens the lock here, she starts to come in and hears the guns here and the crash. And so she's going to go and check it out and sees what are they doing? What are they shooting at? That's funny. And so she's seeing them from the door, and she's like, who are those weird looking goons? Where's X Factor? She asks or wonders here. And so she's going to follow them here. But remember that she used to be sort of a villain, so she wants to, keep living here. Don't be a hero. But sees them with everybody. Look at poor, which one is getting slapped? Um, so anyway, that they're taking the rest, but Caliban is still there. So all right, and so she's like, I gotta do something. Ah, who you kidding, Boom Boom? You haven't got friends. You ran away. They don't owe you, and you don't owe them. And anyway, there's too many. Where the heck is X Factor? They're the heroes. Wait, there's Caliban. He's not much, but so they go up to him here, and she tries to wake him up, and you can see she takes some of the tranquilizers off him, and so, um, she decides, all right, I'll follow them and find out where they're taking them. But that's it. Then I'll find somebody to actually help them. But we saw on the cover, she's not the one. So then eventually, X Factor does come through. They see Caliban here. So they check on Caliban here, and um, he sniffs it like he's Wolverine or something. He's like, tranquilizer darts. He's been hit with a number of them. It's a miracle he's still alive. And so Cyclops says, Gene, Hank, get him to the infirmary on proper stimulants fast. Iceman and I will check for the kids. And so they're a mile away on a private helipad near the East River, so you can see the right. Does nobody wonder a bunch of armored things, and Boom Boom's right behind them. They're and sees that they're putting them in there, and so these guys think that this is the end of X Factor, and Boom Boom's like, "What does he mean? The end? Those shots I heard." They didn't mean they weren't. Oh, yuck, they're leaving. What am I going to do now? She thinks. And so she puts in her little power, which makes this thing blow there. And they're going to check out what that explosion was. And so while that happens, Boom Boom's going to go inside. And so here is Rusty. And of course, no, that's Richter. I'm sorry. And so he's like, "Are you gonna rescue me?" And of course, she covers his mouth, just like, "Don't say anything here." And then she hides. Look at her, kind of crying there. That's that's a good to give the reader more or the viewer a little bit more. And so she's like, "I may be a chicken, but I always was smart till now. Man, I can't believe Boom Boom is doing something this dumb." And you can see the airplane is lifting off. So in the infirmary here, they got Caliban going. So he tells them what happened here, but of course we go back to Caliban could do nothing, because he's powerless here. And that he wasn't even worth taking. And Iceman is like, "We can thank our lucky stars they didn't take you, Caliban. Listen to me. What did they say? Where did they come from?" And they said Arlington. And so they of course assume that it's Virginia, and so they're gonna go get ready. And Caliban's out, and he's like, "I want to come with you." He says, "You're ill." And Caliban's like, "I'm worthless in a fight," and I allowed them. But well or ill, there's one thing Caliban can do. He's a mutant detector, and Arlington is a large city, so he'll help. And that's actually a one time his powers comes in. Well, multiple times, but still. So they arrive and take the kids. Look how big they made Artie's head. Goodness gracious. So they're leaving, and Boom Boom is still in there. Why are they still in their goodness gracious? Don't they get hot? And look at this. She's just following Buzz. How what the heck? So um so anyway, so they're in Arlington, but she's like, "Where's the cemetery?" And so, and Arlington's not that rocky, but that's all right. Eh. And so they're inside the school bus. No idea how she's so fast. And school buses don't necessarily go very fast, but they go faster than you can run. And so they're transporting the kids here, and Richter is crying because he's like, these are the people that tortured me. Man, look how huge this is. The ones who tortured me, and of course they're taking them back to the to them. And Rusty wonders if he can take that torture again, and talks about how Angel killed himself because he couldn't take it. So perhaps. And so, for some reason, Boom Boom is able to keep up with these trucks and sees where they're going and continues here. I so she runs into this guy here, and this guy's like, "What you doing here, kid?" And he's like, "Oh, I was looking for the ladies' room." Um and he's like, "Part of the special exhibit, see? You ought to stick with your class, girlie. Wandering around a place you don't belong might be dangerous." And she's like, "Yep, yep," because he thought he was with the class here. So she goes into, because this is, I'm sorry, I should have mentioned Arlington Interactive Museum of Science. So, all right. And so she's in, and she's like, "Man, I need a phone to call X Factor or the cops or maybe even the president." So I sort of notice that Walter Simonson takes issues off where it's mostly the kids or not X Factor. It's almost like he doesn't want to draw anything but, our the heroes doing action stuff. He could care less about the kids. But if you notice at the issues that were off, have all been issues that dealt with the kids here. So this guy says, "Hey, there's something going on. There's a mutant with all the other kids," and they're able to identify her as Boom Boom. And they're like, "Hey, this guy's like, ha, that can't be a coincidence. She needs to be contained. If she resists, kill her." So of course she's calling. She's trying to place a call with the operator to the X Factor. Sees them that they're coming after her, so she goes out. But of course the operator's like, "Hey, that phone appears to be out of order." So Boom Boom uses her powers to create the bombs, making everybody run. Goes inside this door here, and I don't know why this says all like that, but she's gonna go through the shaft. So they put all the kids together. They've been mean and torturing, and Rusty Richter is like, "Can't you just leave us alone?" And Skids trying to help Rusty here, who was beaten, not doing very well. And Rusty, I'm sorry, I keep saying Rusty. Richter is like, "Monsters, I wish I could kill you. I will kill you." This guy grabs him here. You that eager to take us on, Muty? You can be next. And so the guy says, "Dig it, pup. You can't do diddly with that helmet on your head. You're better off figuring some way to kill yourself." And so now we're with Apocalypse. We are above his ship in New York City, and we have a hidden um, look, a shadowed look of Archangel. You can say that this is his second cameo that he's had. He had a cameo in the previous issue, I believe. And so, or no, two issues before, I believe, where the horsemen were there here. So, and he says, "Your new wings are complete, Death, my fourth horseman. Now we must test what I have made for you. Before you is an obstacle course, much like the ones upon which you honed your powers in your youth. You have but to journey through it. Witness my other horseman what he can do." And of course, um, uh, she's supposed to be old, but this is pestilence and famine, and this is war. And of course, Pestilence says, "Do he can fly?" And Famine says, big deal, Pestilence. So can we on our beast, and we have other powers. And War says, there's got to be more to it. And suddenly you see this scratch, scree, slash. And so he goes through the obstacle course, still shadowed. And he says, and Apocalypse says, excellent. Better even than I had hoped. Soon we will make our move, and the world will learn the meaning of fear. So we continue here. Boom Boom's going through the shaft here. Here's Richter screaming here, and he's hooked up to this big machine here. And you can see how uncaring those people are. So she's going to use her powers, and of course goes boom. And so they're going to go investigate what that was. And so while that happens, she's getting out of the shaft, uses her powers here, and frees Richter and kind of carries him. They're going to find the others here. And so Boom Boom is already being super heroic. Richter says, you wasted those time bombs luring those guys off. You should have killed them. And of course, Boom Boom says, give me a break. There's no way I could kill them all. So I don't think she's saying I couldn't kill them, just kill them all. But hey, there were only two. So she's going to use her little bomb to get rid of this thing. So Richter now has his powers. And so they're back, and he's like, stop, you'll crash the buildings in our head. And so here comes the guys, so they're going to make their escape plan, or their escape through these corridors here. And so while they're in there, Richter's using his power, which causes this to collide. They grab the railing, and yeah, it's probably not a good idea. And so she goes, don't let go. And someone opens the door. He says, don't, Richter. It would spoil the game for everyone. And Richter's like, oh no, Boom Boom, that's their leader. I heard his voice too much. Look, Boom Boom, up there. If he capture us, it's the torture chamber. And so are we going to look and see who it is? I don't know if it's in this issue. I haven't looked at this in a while. So, all right. And so you can see he's still shaking. And she's like, suicide is not the answer. And so they're going to make their way up and see the leader. And it turns out to be Cameron Hodge. And so Cameron Hodge has been the leader of the right, which this is a very Walter Simonson-ish issue. I don't know if you guys noticed that, and he wasn't credited, but it almost looks like there's some layouts or something, or Bob Wiacek doing the best. That's why I thought he did this issue. But all right, so that concludes it. Next, you say you want some evolution. A play on words on the great Beatles song, Say You Want a Revolution. X Factor number 22, Louise Simonson, Sal Buscema with Bob Wiacek. Like and subscribe. I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.